Episode 1. I love you until the first argument. Love is a lie, but it sounds nice. Welcome to the podcast for everyone who's either survived or is about to enter the roller coaster we call relationships. From the first I love you to the last leave me alone. This is not a place for romance. This is where we talk about what happens after the romance fades. The pointless arguments, the silent treatment, the guilt trips, the long quiet pauses, and that beautiful moment when you realize forever really means until you start driving me insane. Welcome to a new podcast. Welcome to the place where love gets dissected without anesthesia. And if you've got a weak stomach, well, sorry about that. Here we don't talk about hearts and candles. We talk about why, after 2 months, you're gasping for air, and after a year, you're Googling therapists. Forget the fairy tales about soulmates. This is the podcast where love gets stripped bare, and most of the time, it's not a pretty sight. So, love. Let's be honest. Love is the best-selling lie in human history. It's sold in songs, movies, even on coffee mugs. They say love moves mountains. Sure. But these days it also moves trauma, anxiety, stress, and endless arguments about who's taking out the trash. Love doesn't come with a warranty, only an expiration date, and it usually arrives sooner than you think. Don't worry, this episode isn't about how love doesn't exist. It does, just not the way the romantic nonsense told you it would. This isn't another story about two people who met, fell for each other, and lived happily ever after, until the mortgage got in the way. The beginning of love? That's the phase where you act like you've had 2 energy drinks and a shot of pure serotonin. Butterflies in your stomach, hearts in your eyes. And you're exchanging those deep, dramatic stares across the table like you're in a chocolate commercial. But that's not love. That's a hormonal cocktail. It's the phase where your brain takes a break and your hormones go on an all-inclusive vacation to the Caribbean. That's why in the first 3 months of a relationship, you should not make big decisions. No shared pets, no matching tattoos, and definitely no joint bank accounts. Because everything smells great, everything feels new, and you're thinking, this is it. The one, but give it 6 months. You're sitting on the couch, staring at the person next to you, wondering if life would have been easier if you'd just stayed single. The real fun starts when you move in together. That's when romance meets reality. The charming girl who smelled like a dream becomes the household general with a comment on everything. And the poetic guy who once wrote you love notes becomes a creature who can't figure out how the vacuum cleaner works, and thinks wiping the counter means smearing crumbs across the entire kitchen with the same cloth he used on the floor. You sit there, look at them, and think, where did it all go wrong? And why on earth do they think yogurt belongs in the drawer? Then comes the classic line, nothing's wrong. Buddy, when someone says nothing's wrong and smiles like the Joker on caffeine, start packing. Because in translation, nothing's wrong means everything's wrong, and it's probably your fault. And if they're holding something in their hand, maybe don't wait to see if it flies. If they're just standing there silent, staring into your eyes, well, you might want to skip packing altogether. That's where romance ends, and the survival phase begins. Love is beautiful, but mostly for those who aren't in it. Sometimes, love is just an accident involving emotions and bad timing. But remember, love isn't the end. It's the beginning of chaos. So the next time someone says, I love you, don't rush to say, I love you too. Ask instead, when we argue next time, will you still want to make me tea? Because I love you is usually the beginning of a sentence that ends with, but we need to talk.